Every rupee you spend is a silent decision, a choice between freedom and control. Money doesn't just buy things, it builds your life, your habits, and your future. Welcome to Story Reads, where today we explore the art of spending money, simple choices for a richer life by Housel. This is not just a book about money, it's about what money says about you, your values, your discipline, and the kind of life you truly want to live. Spending is easy. Anyone can spend. But spending wisely, that's an art. Every purchase we make tells the world who we are and what we believe in. Most people think getting rich comes from earning more, but true wealth begins with how you spend what you already have. We spend to feel good, to look successful, to fill a gap we can't explain. Sometimes we buy things not because we need them, but because we want others to notice us. But every time we chase approval, we lose control, because money spent to impress others rarely brings peace. Housel says, the richest people are not the ones who spend the most. They are the ones who understand what makes them happy and what doesn't. They know when to stop. They know the difference between comfort and excess. When you spend with purpose, your money starts working for you. It gives you calm instead of chaos. It gives you space to choose. Every unnecessary purchase takes a little freedom away from you. Every thoughtful decision adds a little back. The art of spending isn't about rules, it's about awareness. Ask yourself, why am I buying this? Does it add value to my life or just noise? Most people never ask that question. They spend first and think later. And by the time they realize it, they're trapped in a cycle of wanting more and feeling less. True spending power is not about how much you can afford. It's about how little you need to feel fulfilled. People who understand this never feel poor, because they measure wealth not in possessions but in peace. Housel reminds us, spending should be a reflection of your priorities, not your impulses. If your money isn't aligned with your values, it will always feel like it's running away from you. Your spending reveals your story. Some write a story of constant desire. Some write a story of calm discipline. Which one will you write?
Most people think spending money is a reward. I earned it, so I deserve it. But the truth is, every time you spend, you make a trade. You trade a piece of your time, your energy, your future. And that trade should never be careless. When you buy something, remember, you're not just spending money. You're spending hours of your life that you used to earn it. That shirt, that phone, that dinner, they all have a price far greater than what the tag says. They cost your time, your focus, and sometimes your peace. The problem is not spending itself. The problem is spending without awareness. When spending becomes a habit instead of a choice, control is lost. You start working for your wants instead of making your wants work for you. Morgan Housel explains that the happiest spenders are not those who live without comfort, but those who spend in ways that increase peace, not pressure. They understand that comfort is a feeling, not a product. Think of every purchase as a message to your future self. Does this expense make your tomorrow easier or harder? Does it buy time or take it away? Most luxury isn't comfort. It's a disguise for insecurity. People often spend more when they feel less. They buy to hide emptiness. But emptiness cannot be filled with things. Real satisfaction comes when you spend on purpose. When you invest in experiences that grow your mind or relationships that strengthen your life. The dinner you share with loved ones brings more return than a dinner meant to show off. The trip you take to learn something brings more value than a trip to post online. Morgan reminds us, your money should serve your goals, not your ego. If it feeds your ego, it will disappear fast. If it feeds your growth, it will multiply quietly. Freedom doesn't come from saving alone. It comes from knowing what deserves your money. Some expenses free you, others bind you. Knowing the difference is wisdom. And here lies the essence of the art. Money is not only to buy what you like, it's to protect what you love. Spend to build a life, not an image.
Spending money is emotional. We often tell ourselves it's logical, but behind every purchase lies a feeling: fear, pride, desire, or relief. That's why most financial problems are not about money. They're about emotions we don't control. Morgan Housel explains that people don't spend to buy things. They spend to change how they feel. But feelings fade, and money spent to chase them disappears even faster. The art is not to kill emotion, but to master it. When you learn to pause before you spend, you gain power. That pause separates a spender from a master. It's in that moment of reflection that wisdom grows. Ask yourself, what am I really buying here? Is it happiness or just a distraction from what I don't want to face? Many people spend to escape. They work a job they dislike, then spend money to feel better about it. It's a cycle. Work, spend, regret, repeat. But real control begins when you stop buying escape and start buying peace. Peace doesn't come from luxury. It comes from clarity, from knowing that you have enough, that you are not chasing shadows. The richest feeling in the world is not abundance, it's contentment. Morgan says, every financial decision is a test of patience, because in a world that tells you to want more, waiting feels unnatural. But waiting is power. The ability to delay pleasure is what separates wealth from waste. Smart spending isn't about restriction. It's about direction. You can still enjoy what you buy, but buy it for the right reason. Buy it because it serves you, not because it saves you from a moment of discomfort.
Think of your spending as a mirror. It reflects who you are becoming. Every choice writes a line in your life story. You can write a story of control or a story of chaos. Both are built one transaction at a time. If you want your money to bring joy, connect it with purpose. Spend on what aligns with your values. A person who knows what matters never wastes, because waste doesn't come from lack of money, it comes from lack of meaning. And remember this, wealth is not measured by how much you own, but by how much you can walk away from. The more things you need to feel complete, the less freedom you have. The art of spending begins with a simple truth. When you stop chasing everything, you finally have time for what's real.
Most people believe that managing money is about discipline, but Morgan Housel reminds us it's more about understanding yourself. You can't control your money until you understand what controls you. Every spending habit has a root, and that root often lies in fear. Fear of missing out, fear of looking small, fear of being left behind. These fears make people spend faster than they think. They don't buy things, they buy reassurance. But reassurance fades. The cycle starts again. To break this pattern, you must first learn to see money as a tool, not a trophy. Money is not a symbol of status, it's a symbol of choice. When you treat it as freedom, it grows. When you treat it as pride, it slips away. The art of spending wisely begins when you stop comparing. Comparison is the enemy of peace. Someone will always have more, a bigger house, a newer phone, a flashier lifestyle, but that doesn't mean they have more life. The richest people often live quietly. They don't need to prove anything because they already feel complete. Morgan says, you can't enjoy money if you're always looking over your shoulder. True wealth is calm. It doesn't shout. It doesn't rush. It doesn't need attention to exist. It just gives you the space to live on your own terms. Think of money as water. It takes the shape of the vessel you pour it into. If your goals are shallow, your spending will be too. But if your goals are deep, growth, learning, freedom, your spending will naturally align with them. You don't need to stop spending, you just need to start spending consciously. Buy less, but buy better. Spend less often, but spend more meaningfully. Ask yourself simple questions before you buy. Will this still matter a year from now? Will this make my days lighter or heavier? If you can't say yes with confidence, you already know the answer. Morgan reminds us that simplicity is power. The simpler your life, the more control you have. Complexity is expensive, not just in money, but in peace. Every new possession demands space, maintenance, and energy. The fewer things you need, the freer you become. The ultimate goal of spending is not comfort, it's control. Control over your time, your thoughts, your direction. Spend in ways that buy you freedom, not more responsibility. In the end, the richest people are not those with the most money, but those who know exactly how much is enough. Enough is not a number, it's a feeling. When you find that feeling, you win the game.
Money is not just about numbers, it's about meaning. Every rupee,
every dollar carries a story of work, of struggle, of dreams. But most people forget the story once they have the money. They see it as paper, not purpose. That's where they go wrong. Housel writes that the biggest mistake we make with money is assuming more will solve everything. But more only magnifies what already exists. If you are careless, more money multiplies your carelessness. If you are wise, more money multiplies your peace. The power of money depends on the person holding it. You can't fix emotional problems with financial solutions. Spending to feel better never works for long. True satisfaction doesn't come from spending more, but from needing less. That's why some people, even with little, live with grace, and others, with plenty, live in restlessness. Money shows who you are when no one is watching. It amplifies your choices. It doesn't change your values, it reveals them. How you spend when you have enough defines your relationship with life itself. Morgan reminds us, wealth is what you don't see. The car not bought, the clothes not needed, the impulse resisted. Every time you choose patience over pressure, you grow wealth in silence. People often mistake activity for progress. They think moving money means making money, but stillness, too, has value. Sometimes the smartest move is to do nothing, to wait, to breathe, to think. That's how you turn spending into strategy. You don't have to deny yourself everything. The art lies in balance, knowing when to enjoy and when to hold back. Pleasure has a place, but so does purpose. If you enjoy something, enjoy it fully, but let it come from peace, not from pressure. Think of your money like energy. You have a limited supply each day. Where will you send it? Toward growth or toward distraction? Every rupee spent in awareness creates calm. Every rupee spent in reaction creates chaos. Freedom grows from small, wise choices. The dinner you don't need, the gadget you skip, the habit you control. Each becomes a quiet investment in your future, because control compounds faster than interest ever will. And when you learn to say no to the unnecessary, you start saying yes to everything that truly matters. Morgan's lesson is clear. You can't buy happiness, but you can buy peace if you know what to let go of. At the end of every financial journey, one truth stands above all. Money is not the goal, it is the guide. It leads you toward the life you want, but only if you know where you are going. Housel reminds us that money cannot create meaning. It can only amplify the meaning you already have. If your purpose is clear, your spending will follow it. If your purpose is lost, your spending will try to fill the emptiness, and it never will. The art of spending wisely is not about restriction or saving everything. It is about balance, knowing what deserves your money and what doesn't. The richest lives are not built on luxury, but on clarity. People who understand what matters spend less, yet live more fully. Every purchase is a decision about who you want to become. Spend on what moves you forward, not on what holds you still. Spend on books that change your thoughts, on moments that strengthen your heart, on time that brings you peace, because these are the investments that never lose value. Morgan writes, "The real return on money is the ability to wake up and say, I can do what I want today." That's the truest definition of wealth. Control over your time. When your spending protects your time, it protects your life. Money can buy comfort, but not contentment. It can buy security, but not peace. It can buy pleasure, but not purpose. And when you finally understand that, your relationship with money changes forever. The goal is not to have everything. The goal is to have enough. Enough to live without fear. Enough to choose freely. Enough to give without regret. Enough is not scarcity, it's strength. It's the point where you stop chasing and start living. In the quiet truth of simplicity, you will find real wealth. Because wealth is not what you show, it's what you feel when you no longer need to prove anything. And that is the art of spending. To live with intention, to buy with awareness, and to measure life not by possessions, but by peace. So next time you reach for your wallet, pause. Ask yourself, does this bring me closer to freedom or farther away from it? That answer will define your entire financial future. Because in the end, money doesn't make your life richer. Your choices do.